C is for what? Cookies! If you've been following my channel at all, you know that I love my cookies. And today I'm going to share with you my recipe for gluten-free, keto-friendly butterscotch cookies with keto butterscotch baking chips. That's right, keto butterscotch baking chips. Now, I've always liked butterscotch chips in my cookies, but trying to find sugar-free ones and keto-friendly ones are pretty much impossible, even online. So I said to myself, Soph, we've got to make some. And I did, and they were very easy, and I'm going to share that recipe for you today right after the butterscotch cookie recipe. So if you want printable versions of these, you can check out my website at janet'sdeliciouslowcarbkitchen.com. You can find printable versions of these recipes and other goodies there for you. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Also, right next to the subscribe button, there's a little bell. Click the bell. That way you can be notified every time I put out a new video. And while you do that, let's get cooking. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Line a large baking sheet with parchment paper. In a large mixer bowl, combine 1 1/4 cup of almond flour, 3/4 teaspoon xanthan gum, 2 1/2 teaspoons baking powder, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Whisk these together until they're fully combined and there are no lumps left in the flour. Add 1 cup of brown swerve or brown sugar sweetener of your choice. Whisk it in until it's fully combined with the other dry ingredients. Make sure you get all of the big lumps out. Brown swerve can be a little bit sticky, so make sure you really get in there. Make sure all the big lumps are out. You might have to get your fingers in there and break up some of the clumps. It's okay if there's small lumps in there, but you want all the big clumps out, so make sure that you really get in there and whisk it good. Add 5 tablespoons of butter that have been melted and cooled. Make sure it's completely cool. Beat on low for 10 seconds. Then increase the speed to medium and beat on medium for 20 more seconds or until everything is fully combined. Add 2 teaspoons of vanilla or maple extract and 1 large room temperature egg. Make sure it is room temperature, it makes for a more smooth batter. Beat on medium for about 30 seconds or until the egg is fully distributed and the batter is smooth. Scrape down the sides if you need to, and push all of the cookie dough to the center of the bowl. Fold in about 1/4 cup of the keto butterscotch chips, more or less depending on how much you want. I'll show you how to make these in just a minute. Now the butterscotch chips are optional. These cookies taste really good even without the butterscotch chips, so it's up to you if you want to put them in. I personally, you know me, I'm all about lots of flavor, so I like the way the butterscotch chips taste. They give it more of a butterscotch flavor. But it's up to you whether you want the keto butterscotch chips in there or not. It's up to you. Once everything's mixed together and the butterscotch chips are folded in if you're using them, then scoop the dough out 1 tablespoon at a time onto your prepared baking sheet. Make sure the scoops are spread about 1.5 inches or so apart. You want to give the cookies room to be able to expand. They do spread a little bit. Once the dough's been all scooped out, then use your fingers and shape each scoop into a tight ball. Bake at 350 for 10 to 12 minutes or until they're lightly golden around the edges. Once they're done baking, remove them from the oven and let them cool on the pan for at least 10 minutes. Now when these come out, they will be very soft. And you might think that they're not done, but they are. As soon as you see them start getting golden around the edges, they are done. For me, it took exactly 12 minutes and it was perfect. Everybody's oven is different, so 10 to 12 minutes. Look at them at the 10-minute marker. If they're not golden around the edges, then put them back in just for a couple more minutes. But they will be very soft, so make sure you let them cool in the pan for at least 10 minutes so that they firm up really well and don't fall apart on you when you try to pick them up. Once they've cooled for 10 minutes and they're firm enough to be able to pick up without them crumbling on you, then place them on a wire rack and let them cool completely. If you have leftovers, you can store any leftovers in an airtight container at room temperature until you're ready to eat them. Eat and enjoy. In a small saucepan, combine a half cup of butter and a half cup of brown swerve. Stir these continually over medium heat until the butter is fully melted and everything is fully combined. Keep stirring it until the mixture is almost boiling. You do not want it to come to a full boil. As soon as you see any type of little bubbles forming, then reduce the heat to low and stir it continually on low heat until the swerve is fully dissolved and the mixture has turned into liquid. It's about 1 minute more. Remove it from the heat and carefully pour the mixture into a large heat-safe measuring cup with a spout. This just makes it easier to pour if you're pouring it into a mold like I am. If you want to, you can stir in a half teaspoon of maple or vanilla extract. This just gives it a stronger taste. You don't have to put it in. I've made them without it and they still turn out great. But if you want a little more dominant butterscotch taste, then you can add maple or vanilla extract. Now the mixture is going to be very hot, so be very careful. And carefully pour the mixture into baking chip molds. Or if you don't have baking chip molds, you can pour it into an 8-inch or 9-inch square baking sheet. Make sure to line your 8-inch or 9-inch square baking sheet if you're using that. That way you can remove the butterscotch easily. Then place it in the refrigerator and refrigerate it for 3 to 4 hours or until it's completely firm. Once the butterscotch is solid, remove it from the chip molds and place it in an airtight container and store it in the freezer until ready to use. If using the baking sheet method, after the butterscotch has become solid, turn the butterscotch sheet onto a sheet of parchment paper or a cutting board, then break or cut the butterscotch sheet into small pieces that are about the size of chocolate chips. Then place them in an airtight container and store them in the freezer until you're ready to use them. I always store any of my baking chips in the freezer because homemade baking chips melt quicker than store-bought baking chips. Homemade baking chips don't have any preservatives or add-ins, and so as soon as you put them in a cookie, as soon as that cookie hits the heat, they're going to melt all over the place. So it's always best to store them in the freezer and let them get a good chill on them before you use them. I usually make the butterscotch chips or my chocolate chips that I've shown you guys how to make. I usually make them the night before, place them in the freezer overnight, and then use them in whatever recipe I want to use them in. So make sure you store them in the freezer. And that's our recipe of the day. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you want to see more videos like this, then click the thumbs up like button, click that subscribe button, leave me a comment if you want to. Let me know if there's any recipes that you'd like to learn how to make, and I'll do what I can to get those out there for you. And as always, keep cooking.